Hi, and welcome to the Trading Bell Show. Now, been offered a cup of tea right here at Mastercard, and I'll be having a conversation with Daniel Huber. Now, Daniel Huber is the Vice President, Community Plus Market Development, Sub-Saharan Africa, right here at Mastercard. So we want to get to learn what are they doing with the farmers down there, and especially enabling them with Matters Credit. Daniel, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Maina. Yes.
And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Great. Let's start this conversation by a bit of introductions. And for me, when I speak about community pass development, would be asking about what is this all about? Because yes, they see Mastercard because most of them use cards that have these logos. Help us understand what is this all about before we get deep into the conversation.
Exactly. So, Mastercard envisions a world where everyone, everywhere is connected to the digital economy, so that they're able to really go through their life journeys seamlessly.
Yeah.
And as part of really our strategy as a company, we focus very strongly at looking at individuals and businesses at last mile.
Okay.
That today are not digitally financially included.
Yeah.
So what Community Pass does basically is that we really focus on this new segment within Mastercard as a social impact business.
Okay.
To be able to leverage the power of technology to connect these individuals to service providers. And when I say, we are, an interoperable platform that connects individuals and businesses, we exactly need.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that goes into that.
Okay.
Number one, from a Community Pass perspective, we focus on building the individual's profile from a credential perspective. What we mean by that is that we provide an identity to the individual consumer today. That identity then allows the financial institutions to build a track record of their transactions. Now, we've gone ahead to say transactions should not just be defined by payments.
Yes.
There are also other life existing transactions. For example, let's take the farmer. When the farmer is selling in their produce or procuring inputs for that matter, these are transactions, these are e-commerce transactions.
Absolutely.
Where are they not part of their profile? So the next time they're applying for credit, we can go back and say they actually have been selling their produce. So we build that profile of the farmer and associate it with their credential. That's the first thing we do. The second thing then we do is we now digitize their connections to the various service provider on the service side. So that when they show up. So look at, for example, in Kenya here, we have the various cooperatives where the farmers are members. So what we've done is provided technologies to these cooperatives so that they can be able to not only profile the farmer, but be able to, digitize the transaction of that farm. So that's the second thing we do, the enterprise digitization of farm organization. And the last thing we do is then we link that to financial service. So that now financial institutions such as banks can now leverage that data to provide credit, to provide insurance. And that's a business that Community Pass does.
Wow. And that really touches on the people who would say are not in the numbers of people who would really qualify for credit and all that. And thanks so much for that effort. And let's talk about locally. We are here in Kenya, and I want to understand the journey here locally. How has this been, and which parts are you touching on this?
Good. So Community Pass has been live in Kenya for the last close to 4 or 5 years. We are today touching close to 1.3 million farmers, cutting across various sectors. So we are in the coffee value chain, we are in the maize value chain, we are in the rice value chain, we are in the cotton value chain. And we have a couple of partnerships that are really driving us here. So one of our anchor partners in this market is Cooperative Bank of Kenya. And with Cooperative Bank of Kenya, we've been able to really digitize close to 600 cooperatives and connect those cooperatives to market through the platform itself. And one shining example, if I may give, is our partnership between Cooperative Bank and Shell Foundation. Now, Maina, one of the things we realized quickly that if you look at the agriculture productivity, one of the barriers to productivity is that there is no access to really assets that they can be able to push the farmer. For example, our agriculture is very weather dependent. So going into irrigation, which our farmers want to go into, they were not qualifying to get, for example, loans for irrigation equipment. So our partnership with Shell Foundation is in exactly that, to support cooperative bank to advance credit to farmers who want to take green assets, such as solar irrigation pumps, such as millers, such as cold storage, so that we're able to improve productivity, but also post-harvest handling. So that's one partnership we have between Shell Foundation and Cooperative Bank, and rolling that up. The second thing we are doing in this country is through our partnership with Digical and local acting. And Digical works in the dairy sector.
Oh, so that's DigiCow.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay.
If you look at the dairy sector, what we're enabling Digical to do is, again, leverage the infrastructure built to enable farmers to apply for inputs, right? And they aggregate the demand of input and share that with service providers. So that service providers are aware what is actually the need of the farm from an input perspective. Now we are linking that service with financial services. So we are now in a position to be able to get the digital farmers to access credits from banks such as Equity. So that is a second example of what we're doing. The third example I'll give you here is our partnership with the National Farmer Federation, Kenya, the Kenya National Farmer Federation.
Yes.
Very proud that our work with the Federation has now looked at how do we turn cooperatives to digital hubs. Because one of the things that has been a challenge of the digitization journey is that a lot of data is still in manual forms and in black books at the cooperative level. And when we introduced the technology at the cooperative level, the next question was, but we are not connected. So we are now in the process of getting KENAF, the Kenya National Farmer Federation, with Microsoft to come together and create digital hubs at the various cooperative movements. And the fourth example I'll give you here is our partnership with the African Development Bank. And with the African Development Bank, we're in the early days of launching a digital credentialing program where we will support the banks in Kenya to be able to embed community pass to their existing products and to be able to roll out across the country. And often link that to a concessionary facility for the FDP. So that's sort of some of the things really.
Lovely, lovely. When I sit and listen to you, I see a lot of leveraging on partnerships, especially with the existing financial institutions that farmers would know and all that. I'd like you to give me some color on the partnerships, but also touch on, because there could be someone like me who knows my uncle who's a farmer and keeps sometimes calling me saying, can you send me this because there's a delay in payment, I can't access all that. And this is what you're really solving. How would you address that as a challenge that you see and the solution coming in, and how you're leveraging on partnerships?
Just to lay that down. You know, if you look at the credit market here, farmers, it's unfortunate that, out of every 100 farmers who manage to apply for credit, right? Not those who try and fail, who manage to apply for credit, only 3.
Only 3?
Yes.
Out of 100. That's how low.
So every 100 successful application for credit by farmers in Kenya, 3 are the ones who finally qualify and get it.
And that means even the 100 qualify. That means there were so many that were dropped off.
And they did not get to actually apply for one reason or the other. Now, the challenge that is there with the credit process here is the fact that there's no visibility of this farmer in terms of who is the farmer and how are they trading, right? And that's a barrier we are breaking. And what we're doing is we're enabling financial institutions now not to request a farmer to do a proposal to get credit. That because the farmer is part of the community pass network, that data is actually available. And with permission and consent, the financial institution can leverage that particular data and to be able to make a judgment call on whether or not minor qualify for credit.
Absolutely.
That's what we're enabling. But, to get to a place where all of us, especially from a farmer side, are actually improving that credit access. There are a number of things, in my view, that needs to be done. Financing is one step. But who is serving this farm? There are a number of players today.
You're right.
Whether they are architects, we have a lot of innovations in the country. And that's where, for example, farmers today are being aggregated. So what we have done from a community perspective is open our platform to allow architects. I gave you an example of DigiCow.
Absolutely.
Who has now leveraged our community platform to offer services. We are opening that up through APIs to allow third-party applications to also leverage community pass to link the credential of the farmer I talked about so that data can be captured and shared with the financial institution. So that's one thing we're doing. The other thing we're doing is strengthening the marketplace. And for us, the marketplace is divided into 3 building blocks. The first is the input marketplace.
Yeah.
So one of the things we are doing very strong is how do we get input providers, such as, for example, Yara in the fertilizer space, to now be part of the platform we are building from an ecosystem perspective.
Yeah.
That Yara can then have the stability of the demand of input at farm gate, so that farmer can then access input, quality input at the right time.
Yeah.
Now, because you have Yara on the platform, you have, let's say, Digital on the platform as an architect, and you have a financial institution such as Cooperative Bank or Equity, you can easily do a consortium approach to credit offering. Make it possible for the farmer to be able to apply for it, get credit from a bank, and get quality input from Yara, for example.
Okay.
But that's just one marketplace. Now, input without a place to send your commodity is not going to help you as a fish.
It's not going to help.
The second marketplace we're enabling is the off-take marketplace. So that we are getting off-takers and buyers into the platform. So that now you know this is a farmer who's receiving quality inputs and will be ready with their harvest. So how then do you get to know what's available at farm gate for you to be able to off-take?
Okay.
So we're enabling the off-take process. And the third thing that we're doing is basically, of course, the financial services itself, whether it's digitizing payment, digitizing the insurance. So those are some of the things we're doing to be able to provide, a complete marketplace.
Wow. And really kudos on that. I'm just very careful of my Otieno or Kamau, who's probably watching and saying, wow, I wish my guest today could probably just say an example. Have you seen one who has been transformed by this that you could probably mention?
Yes.
Putting you on the spot.
Thanks for putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
So a couple of examples to give you. So we if you look at the rice value chain, we have been in the rice value chain for about 2 years now. And what are the things we're seeing in the rice value chain, for example, is an uptick on credit by cooperatives. Where rice is an example of it, where because of the digitization journey they're going through, right? Banks are now increasing the limits that they can be able to access. That means more funds for their own farmers because their data is now digitized. As an example. The other example we have is in the maize value chain, right? And if you look at the work we are doing in Eldoret, for example, at Tanzania, right? Because the farmers are digitizing their transactions, we are now getting those farmers connected to actually traders who want to off-take from them. Right? And that is the examples we're seeing immediately because of the journey of that digitization. And the last one I'll give is on the cotton sector. And a very interesting part in cotton industry is the fact that because of digitization, cotton, the ginaries, for example, Rivertest and the rest, are looking at opportunity to say, we can actually source cotton locally. We didn't know that cotton is available here until digitization happened. So a lot of conversations we're having is around how do you connect the dots between those different actors? And we're seeing immediate results out of that connection.
And there's a lot of huge potential if we could tap into all this. Let me talk about, because you're moving to farmers all the way to the ground, I would want you to just give me a scope of which other, beyond borders countries are you also serving, and also touch on one critical thing, because now you're collecting a lot of data as well. And maybe there's a farmer saying, I want to get in, and they want to feel that protection element of it. So those two areas, how you're ensuring that even as you're picking this data, it's going to be used for what it's meant for, and of course, which other areas are you serving? Because cross-border people are also working.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk about this. Start with the data.
Data trust, right?
Yes. So as Mastercard, we take data privacy, data security, data protection very seriously. Actually, those are tenets by which we build our own application. And as a company and as an industry, a company in the payment industry, because of the nature of transactions that are processed within our platform, we ensure very clearly that there's security and protection of your data across the platform. But more importantly is the adherence to the data regulations and laws of the countries we serve in. And Kenya is no exception for us. What we've done is to ensure that, for example, within our applications, we put in standards and guidelines to our service providers as to how to be able to collect and manage and store data that is clearly allowing consent to be captured by the service providers from the users or the consumers of that data. So respecting regulation, ensuring that the standards are there, and protection is very critical for us as we do this. Fundamentally, I think it's the power of data to the individuals, because now we are giving you the opportunity to be able to, make use of your data. And because you can be able to consent to what services you are, the power is being transitioned to you, right? And I think it's important to always remember that securing transactions, providing platforms that are with privacy by design is critical for us to be able to expand this in a way that is respecting the local. So that I can be able to prove.
Wow.
Now, to your question around where again are we?
Yes, quick.
I said we have 1.3 million in Kenya and growing. Africa-wise, we've deployed in 4 countries. So we are at about 4 million farmers across Africa today, right? We are live in Uganda with almost close to 1.4 million farmers. Wow. Working through agtechs and financial institutions and cutting across multiple value chains, whether it's coffee, whether it's grain, whether it's horticulture. We're also live in Tanzania, with a number of our partners there, both agtechs and financial institutions, and we are live in Ethiopia, also in the coffee value chain. Those are the countries where we are going in. But we also have ambitions, right? And hopefully, end of the year, we'll be live in Nigeria as the other country of implementation.
Well done on that. And so as we come to a close, I wanted to understand a little bit and ask you to share some of the key lessons that you've learned over the time, especially on best practice at your institution, Mastercard, especially in promoting digital solutions. And I also wanted to just drop in another component, because this is a financial literacy definitely that you're also giving to these farmers.
Yes.
What would you share on that?
So, very painful lessons and very exciting lessons. So, the digitization agenda and journey. One of the many things that we've learned at a fundamental one for us is that it's important to go through an ecosystem approach. And what do I mean by an ecosystem approach? One person cannot resolve the challenges of digitization in our market. It is important to be able to crowd in partners based on their strength. And that's what we're doing. So, for example, as Mastercard, we are convening partners, whether they're financial institutions, they're technology companies, right? Whether they are input providers. So how do we bring in value chain actors into our common platform? So an ecosystem approach to development or rolling out of solutions critical. That's number one. The second thing that is important is digital and financial literacy, to your point. That we must go the extra mile to build capacity of these individuals, first of all, to know their right, what it means to digitize their data. So awareness of their rights when it comes to matter of data.
Absolutely.
Secondly, what will it mean for them to be able to access financial services? And we do that through partnership. Very proud of our partnership, for example, with the Farmer Federation. We do those partnerships through, and the local architects we work with. So building onto literacy programs is critical and must continue to happen. That point is, de-risking the infrastructure itself. The cost of devices, for example, for service provider, the cost of cards for farmers, the financial institutions. And so we are mobilizing, our partnership, whether it's through the African Development Bank, whether it's through our partner Shell Foundation, so that we can de-risk some of those assets and make it affordable for the farmer and the various value chain actors to be able to access this.
Wow. What's the future of Community Pass? As we come now to the final question, I'm curious to see what you're looking at next few years or so. What are you looking at?
Good. So, just this year in May, Mastercard and the African Development Bank, we announced an alliance we call MED Alliance, which is basically Mobilizing Access to the Digital Economy Alliance from Africa, with a very audacious goal, where we said we want to reach 100 million Africans in the next 10 years. But we said we will not wait for 10 years. What is our short-term goal? So in the next 3 years, so that's by 2027, we want to get to 15 million individuals reached on Community Pass, availing services to them. And we want to do that across Africa, right? And that's going to be something that we're going to keep us busy for the next 3 years.
And I have to ask you this. I was just thinking, if I were you, I'll be a farmer now. I don't know. Have you felt that urge when you're interacting with these guys?
Yes. My own mother is a farmer. And the journey of farming is personal to me.
It's very
because if you look at, I come from Kitale, and maize is the business we run every day. Waking up in the morning, right? Making sure that, you are the farm to be able to plant. Playing the security guard at night because you have to protect your maize so that it's not harvested before the right time. and then queuing at the NCPB at 4 a.m. to make sure your base is picked. So that's where we came from. I see that. But I think the world has changed. I think with technology now, we're supposed to be more that with my mother. And keep fighting with her every day today of how then do we digitize our farm. So that then instead of having people and waking up at 4 a.m. because we're no longer there, that at the click of a button, that off-takers can come directly to our farm.
Absolutely.
Be able to pick the produce.
Absolutely.
Good.
Thank you so much for your time.
Good.
Wow. Lovely conversation right there with Huba. And my goodness, 33% of our GDP is on the farm and agricultural side. And looking at how Mastercard is really helping integrate farmers into the financial system and really enabling them as well have access to credit, way more than to say kudos for them. Thank you so much for your time. I'll leave you now with the market.